Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Sorium, and in today's video I am going to be talking about something that's that I've been wanting to talk about for a while. I've been just trying to figure out how to go about it. So as you see from the title, this is about my diagnosis of having PCOS, and kind of my story with that, how this all started. And obviously you guys know that I have a baby, so we'll talk about a little bit about that. So we'll see how long this video is, but I'm gonna try to like not make it so long and crazy. But I did want to talk about kind of like my experience with this, because I know it's different for everyone. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about PCOS, fertility and infertility, and then my pregnancy a little bit. I'll see, I might have to cut this into 2 videos just because it might get a little long. I know I like to talk a lot, and I kind of want to give a lot of background information. So I just wanted to quickly do a little bit of a disclaimer. Obviously I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, I have no idea about any of that stuff, but this is just kind of my experience with what I was diagnosed with PCOS, and I kind of just wanted to share my experience. This isn't like the only story out there, so if you have any questions and if I'm not clear, and if you do have questions, just go ahead and you could leave comments and I'll try to answer as best I can. But you could also do your own research on PCOS, and if you do think that you have this, definitely talk to your doctor, because this is really serious and you need to have it kind of under control. So again, this is just my experience, what I've had to go through, and yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy this video. I hope you find it informative, and let's just get into it. To give you a little bit of background, well, to start off with PCOS, that means polycystic ovarian syndrome. So basically what that means is that there's a hormone imbalance in your body, and what's happening is that there are cysts. Basically your ovaries, the eggs inside of your ovaries some of them are becoming cysts, and this can cause like so many problems, so many other problems in your body. So I think some side effects of having like these cysts in your ovaries is that you gain weight. That's like one of the big ones. You get acne, you can have like hair growth where you don't want hair, so like facial hair, you could get like a hairy face, like a man. Some women experience hair on their chest, or like on places women shouldn't really usually have hair. So I think some of them are like painful, like the cysts themselves are actually painful. So there's lots of symptoms for this. According to doctors, they really don't know where it comes from, like why women get polycystic ovarian syndrome. I think they say that it might be hereditary, but they really don't know for sure. So it has to do with your hormones and your ovaries themselves. So that's kind of a little bit of a definition if you didn't know what PCOS was. I will have it linked below in the description, some more links and more like information on that if you have any more questions, or if you just like want to know more about like what symptoms you get and what problems could arise. So I really never, like, I've heard of PCOS, but I never knew what it was. So to give you a little bit of background on myself, so this is going to be a little bit of TMI. If you are weirded out by personal information, then I don't know why you clicked this video, but there will be period talk and women body thing talk. So so a little bit of background on myself. I got my first period when I was 11 years old, and to me that's about an average age. Girls usually get it between like 9 and like 15, so anywhere in that range is kind of normal. So I got it when I was 11, and it was always regular, always the same. I never had really heavy bleeding. It was really like just an average period, and it came every single month. It was never late, it was never early. I mean, like 1 day off or so, like in either direction. So it was sometimes 1 day earlier than the previous month, or maybe like 1 day later than the previous month. So it's always on time. I never had any issues. I never had as far as like bleeding was concerned. I did have severe cramps, to the point where I had to go to the doctor and they gave me some special medicine, because just taking Tylenol or Motrin or whatever, that just wasn't working ever. It never worked. So I did end up having to go to the doctor for the severe cramps, so they just gave me some really big nasty like horse pills, and so I took those for the cramps. But as far as the period was concerned, my cycle, it was normal, it was average, it was like, it was literally like I knew exactly what day I was gonna get it every single month. So up until I was about like 20 years old, my period was always normal, always perfect. I never had any issues. I was never late, nothing. Like, it was normal. I never had any symptoms of PCOS or anything of that sort. So when I turned about maybe a little bit before I turned 20, Derek and I, we were gonna get married. So we got married in October, and a couple months before we got married, I went to my doctor and I wanted to get on some birth control. Like, we had talked about family planning, and we knew that we didn't want to have a baby right away. We kind of wanted to spend our first couple of years just married and just living the married life. So I went to the doctor, and the doctor told me I was not able to go on like the pill, like the everyday pill, because of my existing blood pressure problem. So, a side note, I have high blood pressure. It's it's chronic, it's hereditary. I've had it since I was like 11. So she told me, my doctor told me that I couldn't do the pill because that interfered with the with my blood pressure, so it would just make it go up more than already was. So so we didn't even go into that. She told me I couldn't do that, so that's fine. So she suggested that I do the Depo Shot. So that's the shot that they put in your butt cheek. I think it's every 3 months, and so I did that for about a year. And on the shot, one of the main side effects is weight gain. So I gained a lot of weight when I started on that birth control. And another side effect that some women experience is like later periods until you don't have a period anymore. And for me, I got my period one time after the first time I got the shot, and then I didn't get my period again for that whole year. So, you know, at that time in my life, I was so happy because I didn't have my period, I didn't have cramps, I didn't have to worry about different birth control like condoms or anything. So it was great. Like, at that moment in time, I was living my best life, not having cramps and not having my period. I never had to worry about it because my period just never came. So about a year into the Depo Shot, then I decided I wanted to switch. I didn't want to be on the Depo because I was really having mood swings. Another thing with the Depo, and I'll link below a list of like the symptoms and the side effects that you get when you could possibly get when you're taking the Depo Shot. So I was extremely moody. I was very angry. I was so different. Like, I wasn't myself. So like, I didn't even want Derek anywhere near me. He couldn't touch me, he couldn't hug me, he couldn't kiss me, like nothing. So I kind of like didn't know that, like, I didn't do my research as I should have, but basically it was because of the Depo Shot, because of the medicine that was in there. So I didn't know that, and I kind of just thought, you know, I was going through something, but I didn't kind of attribute it to the birth control. So after about a year, I was really sick and tired of the way that I was feeling and the way that I was acting. So I talked to my doctor again, and we decided to do the Nexplanon, which is like the implant that goes in your arm. And the way she explained it to me was, it's basically the same medicine as the Depo, but it's in really small doses. So it releases the medicine in really small doses over a span of 3 years. So I thought, okay, maybe that'll be a little bit better. And my main concern was really my weight and my mood. So because I had gained so much weight in the year and a half that I was like on the Depo Shot. So I switched to the Nexplanon, and I had that in for 2 years because, yeah, so I took it out 1 year before like I was supposed to take it out. at that point, I hadn't gotten my period like since the first time I got the birth control. So like I started kind of thinking about it, and I was really just like kind of worried that I didn't ever get my period. And I thought, like, as a young woman in my early 20s, like, not getting my period was just like something that I wasn't comfortable with. Like, I was about, what do I say, like 23, 24, almost 24 at the time. So I had been on this medication for basically 3 years, and I just, like, I started thinking about it, and I just, like, I don't like that I don't get my period. I need to, like, I feel like my body and I, like, mentally, I needed my cycle. I needed to have that. So I talked to Derek about it. Like, we were always in communication with everything. And we talked about, like, me getting off the birth control completely. And so we talked about it. We were like, okay, so we know that if we get off the birth control, there's a possibility that we could get pregnant. And we decided that if it happened, it happened, and we weren't going to prevent it. We weren't going to be actively trying, but we weren't going to prevent it. So we were basically saying, like, okay, we're ready. Like, if it happens, and we would be happy with it. So I got the Nexplanon implant removed. I think it was about maybe November, like the end of the year that I was 23. And so after that, I didn't get my period for about 6 or 7 months. And I was thinking, okay, maybe 1 month, you know, after 1 month, okay, it might just be like lingering medication, like the birth control's still in my system. After 2 months, I'm thinking, okay, maybe I'll give it 1 more month. After 3 months, I was like, oh, I'm gonna give it 1 more month. And, you know, as time goes on, I kind of just, like, it's like I didn't really think about it as much. So when I went about to 6 or 7 months of having no period after I had the birth control removed, I talked to my doctor. I went to my doctor. I told her what was going on. So she prescribed, I forget what it's called. It's medication that's supposed to, like, kind of jumpstart your period again. So I'll have that link below, because I'm actually on that again now. But we'll get to that. So yeah, so this is like a super long kind of story, like background information on myself. But so I got on that medication, and a few months, maybe like 1 or 2 months into the medication, I got my period, and it was awful. It was the heaviest period I've ever had in my life. It lasted like 3 weeks. The first one that came back after nothing for 2 years. So it lasted for like 3 weeks. It was so heavy. Like, I've never worn tampons. Like, I'm not a tampon wearer. I like to wear pads. And I would wear 2 pads, like 2 of those super big overnight ones, and it would, like, I would bleed through. And it was I couldn't even, like, if I was sitting, I couldn't even get up, because it would be just like a gush. I couldn't walk because it would be a gush. So it was really stressful. So after I had that, like, first one, I was like, oh my god, this is insane. But I was thinking, okay, it just came back after 3 years. Like, just give it some time. So the next couple of periods, they were not normal. Like, I got the one, like, I think I went a month without it again, and then it came back again for like 2 weeks. So it wasn't normal, and I dealt with that for a little while. And so at that point, obviously, we weren't using any protection, and I wasn't on birth control. So I was kind of a little bit obsessed, because I think I was kind of like expecting to get pregnant, and I got a little, it was to the point that I was a little bit obsessive, and I would take a pregnancy test like every single month, 2 or 3 every single month. I went through like 3 or 4 boxes of pregnancy tests, because I kept, like, I was like a little bit obsessed, because, you know, you expect, like, you think, oh my god, like, you're having unprotected sex, so you're expecting to get pregnant, and it was just like not happening. My period ultimately, like, kind of fizzled out, and like was like back to normal a little bit. I was still a little bit heavier than I'd ever been before, but it was like kind of a little bit on schedule. So after all that whole ordeal, and I think we had been trying, for lack of a better word, to get pregnant or have a baby for like 4 or 5 months, 6 months maybe at the most. And at that point I was thinking, oh, my leg fell asleep. Like, okay, we're not getting pregnant and we're kind of trying. So I made another appointment with my doctor. My doctor's awesome. Like, she explains everything really well and she goes in depth. And so I told her, you know, we've been not avoiding it and my period has been okay, but we still haven't been able to get pregnant. And she basically told me that what it could be is PCOS. So that's where this whole video idea starts from. So she told me kind of like the symptoms, what could cause it, like, not really what could cause it, but like what I'm going through, it could be attributed to PCOS. So she told me all about that. Let me fix this camera angle. So she told me about that, and one of the last things she said, and she kind of said it really nonchalantly, like kind of like didn't really put too much focus on it, but she did end up saying that it could cause infertility, and that's what like my mind, that's what my thoughts clung to. So I was like really scared. I was really nervous because like at that point we wanted a baby, like we were ready, we were trying. And then hearing, oh, you might not be able to have a baby, you're thinking, what? Like, what? So I was really sad. I was really devastated because like I was ready to have a baby at that point. So she decided, my doctor decided to refer us to a specialist, a fertility specialist in Philadelphia. So me and Derek had the first appointment, like the consultation appointment, and that's where the doctor kind of talks to us about the consultation, talks about, like, she really wanted to buckle down and see if that was what it was, like PCOS is what it was. So we made that appointment. It was really scary, and like going into that office, that doctor's office in Philly, and like going into the office and sitting in the waiting room with like all these other families, like all these other like women and men, like families, and like I was the youngest one there. It was kind of like embarrassing for me. Like everyone was probably, I mean, all the other ladies that I saw there were probably in their 30s, at least in their 30s, and I was literally like 23 years old, like in this infertility like place, like fertility specialist. So it was a little bit scary. We went in and we talked to this doctor. I really don't even remember her name because we only saw her the one time. So she had all this paperwork that like she had me fill out, and it was like to really narrow down the symptoms and what I was experiencing to see if she could diagnose me with the PCOS. So we went through all this. She told me about like the hair, the weight gain, which is obviously one of the things that I was experiencing, which I thought it was because of the birth control. And at the end of the consultation, she basically said that it looks like that is what I have, that I have maybe a mild form of PCOS, because I didn't have all of the symptoms, but I had enough of them that she could say that I had PCOS. So she had scheduled me for another appointment so we could go, like, I think they were gonna do a physical. I think even that same day I got some blood work done right there in that office, and then she scheduled me for a follow-up appointment to I guess like figure out treatment. And we ultimately, okay, so then we go at home. There was just like, because it was maybe like a month or two after that first meeting that we had another meeting, and I think a month before that second meeting, the doctor's office called and they said that she had to cancel. I think it was for January, the appointment, and we were like in November. So in like early December they called and said that they had to cancel because the doctor was going to be gone, and I just told them, okay, well, I'll call back another time and schedule, because it was like Christmas time was like really busy. So after that, I'm thinking, like, I was kind of like worried to like the max, because, you know, you're always told, oh, be careful, you know, like, and like we were so careful when we first got married. Like I made sure to get on birth control before we even got married, so that, you know, we would have the time as a married couple. And then when you actually want to have a baby, like, you know, you hear, oh, you might not be able to. So it was really devastating. It was really, like, I was like really depressed at that time, because I felt like we were ready, like we were wanting a baby, and we were ready, and it was just like nothing was happening. So so we had our specialist appointment scheduled. I think it was like late January of 2017. So so December goes by, January goes by, and I don't remember what it was, but so we didn't go to the appointment because the doctor was going to be gone, and I just forgot to call. And February went by, and I think it was early February, so it was Super Bowl Sunday, and that is when me and Derek were at his dad's house watching. He had like a Super Bowl party, so we were watching the Super Bowl. And was it February? I think it was February. Yeah, I think it was February. So we were watching the Super Bowl. I had been feeling like in January, I had been feeling really like my breasts were so sore, and I just thought it was the bra that I was wearing because it's a little tight, and I'm thinking, oh, like I can't be wearing this bra anymore, so I switched bras. And I specifically remember the day we were at his house, at his dad's house, at Derek's dad's house, and we were like watching the Super Bowl, and then it was kind of getting late because you know how the Super Bowl goes on for hours and hours and hours. So we decided to leave a little bit early, maybe like a little bit after halftime, so it was kind of early. And as we were leaving, I gave Derek's dad a little side hug, and like you know, it's a side hug, so the amount of pain that I had in my boobs was unreal. And like immediately when that happened, like I feel like I knew I was pregnant. So I was thinking about this all night. I didn't say anything to Derek, but he had known. I had told him about like my boobs being sore in January, but it was kind of like just one or two times that I had said it. So I stayed really quiet. So that was Sunday, and then Monday, Derek went off to work early in the morning. So he got up, he got ready, he went to work, and then when he leaves was the time that I would get up. So I got up. I knew I had this really cheap pregnancy test from like CVS or the dollar store, actually. I think it was the dollar store. So it was really cheap, and like I got up, and that's the first thing I did. I like peed on the stick, I set it down, and I like couldn't wait to see it. Like I was gonna just like hop in the shower, take a shower, and then come out and look at it. I couldn't even wait. So like I peed on the thing, and I waited for like 30 seconds, and I had to look. Like I couldn't just like not look. So I looked, and it had the 2 little lines. So like I couldn't even believe it. Like thinking about it like right now, I was just like like I couldn't believe it. It was amazing. So I was just like crying, and I like went in the shower, and I took a shower, and I was just like crying in the shower, like and then I would like start laughing and like start crying and like laugh crying at the same time, because like after the doctor's telling you that like you might not be able to have a baby, and then all of a sudden like, you know, God blesses you with this little miracle baby, like I was over the moon. So so yeah, so then I went into like being pregnant, and yeah, so I will do another video, kind of like my pregnancy story. I want to do that before I forget too much of my experience, because it was like it was such a long time ago. The baby just turned 1, so you could probably see from my the vlog from her birthday party. So she's 1 now, so I do want to kind of like go back and think about everything that I went through with the pregnancy, and kind of like document it, and help anyone that has, you know, is going through the first time pregnancy thing. So I might do that now, just make 2 videos out of this. But I technically still have PCOS. It didn't really go away, and to me, I think like, this is obviously my opinion, my kind of logic, and what I think happened to me specifically. So I'm not saying this is for everyone or this is what happens to other people, but I think that the reason that I have PCOS is because of the birth control. And I know that's a lot, like, that's a big assumption to make, but I honestly think that. I think the reason that I have PCOS is because I was on birth control, and because the birth control that I was on is hormonal birth control, and was hormonal birth control. I'm not on anything now, and I honestly, I really believe that that's what it is. That's what it was. That's what caused it, and that's why I have it now. It, you know, birth control messes with your hormones, and it makes your body think that you're pregnant. So it's like you have all these pregnancy hormones, but you're not actually pregnant. So that's my belief. That's what I think happened to me. I'm not saying that's what happens to every other person that has PCOS, because I never had any issues growing up. I never had any problems. The only thing that I ever had was cramps, which, you know, that's very normal. And I never had any other symptoms like attributed to PCOS. It was just the cramps, and they were like abdominal cramps, like in the middle, like my uterus cramps. It wasn't like cramps off to the side, which would be like more ovary like cramps, which is a sign of like cysts in your ovaries when you have that pain on either side. So growing up, I never had pain like on one side or the other. It was always like in my uterus, and that's where I had my cramps. But yeah, so that's the conclusion I came to. You can do your own research. You know, people, doctors, specialists, they say that there's no cause, really. They don't know the root cause of PCOS, but in my opinion, for my case, I think that it was because of the birth control. So Derek and I both decided that I am not going to get on any more birth control. We are just going to be very careful, and we do want to have another baby at some point, maybe soon. I don't know, we're still talking about it, but we definitely do want to have another baby. I definitely do want to have another baby, but we'll talk about that when we get there. And hopefully if we end up getting pregnant, which I hope we do, you know, that I will try to document. I want to document from start to finish. I want to like really go in depth, because I think that these videos are so informative, and just giving somebody, like showing someone your experience, like, you know, it could help them. So I do want to kind of log the whole experience, and but when we get there, we get there. So as of right now, the baby is 1 year old, 1 year old, can't even talk. So she just turned 1 August 29th, and I think my body is back to having the same symptoms. I cannot lose weight. It is very hard for me to lose weight. Like, I would have to basically just not eat anything, like, ever, to lose weight. It's very hard. I do have a little bit of the facial hair thing, but it's like not really serious. Like, I have like I feel like I just have a little bit of thicker fuzz. But yeah, so recently, maybe 6 months ago, in January, my period stopped coming. So my last period was in December of last year. So I had her August 29th. It was a C-section, so I'll go into my pregnancy kind of story, but I'll give you the really quick little synopsis of the end of the pregnancy. So I had a C-section. I had to have an emergency C-section, so they did that. Oh, my leg's asleep again. So they did the emergency C-section, and after that I was bleeding for about a month. So all of September I bled, and then in October I got my period normal, and then November and December, September, October, November, December, right, so I got my period normal the rest of the year. And then in January I had to take a emergency contraceptive, because I just wanted to make sure because there was a little bit of a situation. So I took the Plan B emergency contraceptive, and that screwed up everything. So again, that's another reason why I think it's the birth control that's really triggering my cycle to like just stop. And so I took that medication in January, and I took it a week before I was supposed to get my period, because that's like when it, you know, when the incident happened, and you know what I'm talking about. So I didn't get my period in January, I didn't get my period February, didn't get it March, didn't get it May, didn't get it April, May, and then I think June, and I think at the end of June I called my doctor, told her the situation, told her what was going on, and we had an appointment. I, you know, let her know everything, and she put me back on that drug that brings back your period, and I'll have it linked below because I can't think of the name right now, but got me on that. So that jump started my period again. So I got it in July, got it in August, so I got it in July, I didn't get it in August, and I just got it in September. So I'm trying to like take my medication every day so that it could be more regular, because we're probably going to be starting to try maybe the end of this year. We don't know yet, but like I need it to be regular. I need it to be on track for my peace of mind, and just to be for my peace of mind now, just to know that I'm regular, and also for, you know, the possible future baby that we want to have. So that is my PCOS story. It's really long. I know this is really long. I'm going to try to edit it as much as I can to like shorten it. But yes, if you have any additional questions, you could leave those below. You could do your own research. I'm going to have a bunch of like articles and links and things in the description if you want more information on anything I talked about. Yeah, like there's some websites that can explain things much better than I can, and like doctors and nurses and whoever that know a lot more than I do. So if you found this video informative, if you find it helpful, if you just wanted to kind of get some more information on PCOS and want to hear my story, then I hope you did enjoy this video. I've been wanting to do this video for a while now, and I actually filmed this like maybe last year, the end of the year, like right after I had her. I filmed it and it was awful. It was like all over the place. So I kind of like shelved that idea until just like I have been wanting to kind of do more different types of videos, and so I thought I would kind of start this like baby series, I guess, and I'm gonna start with like the beginning. So I hope you found this video informative. I will be posting this one first, so if you want to check out my pregnancy, my first pregnancy story and my experience with that, that's gonna be my next video, so keep an eye out for that. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and thanks for being here if you're still here. Really appreciate it. If you did like it, give it a thumbs up, share the video, share the thing, share everything. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. It's like late, but I'm gonna try to get my pregnancy story filmed tonight. Yeah, so I'm hoping to be posting more videos and be a little bit more consistent. I'm really motivated. Like, I like the change in the way that my channel is going in. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it informative, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!